Hello, good evening, and welcome to Easy 8's Online Painting Club. My name's Danny, says it right down there at the bottom of the screen, and welcome to our 100th show. How have we come this far? It's incredible to think that it's been 100 shows. I've done a few other bits and pieces here and there, like a couple of little product reviews, nothing serious or anything major to shout about. But of the Easy 8 Painting Club, the Online Painting Club, 100 episodes, 100. We're into our third series, so we're into our third year as such, and I think that's really incredible. So before the show really starts, thank you for coming along and being a part of it. If you are new to Easy 8, it's not a tutorial or anything like that at all. It's literally just a live show where you can come along, make some friends over there in a live chat when they get a bit busy. I'm expecting it to be a quiet evening tonight because it's actually like a few nights just before Christmas, so it's probably not going to be that busy. But if you are new, you can make some friends over there. You can just go and have a chat with me, or you can watch it on replay later on. Just kind of knowing that there's always going to be someone there who's kind of painting models and getting through that slog. This is all about the motivation, hopefully some inspiration. That would be really nice, wouldn't it? From my point of view, it'd be really nice to inspire people, but to help get you motivated, just to kind of help drag you through painting that massive plastic grey hoard that I know that you've got. I've got it. It's piles. You can't see it. It's all conveniently placed around the camera angle, but I'm surrounded by it. So yeah, I'm just kind of here to help you kind of get through all of that sort of stuff. For the next 2 hours, I'm going to be sitting here painting, chatting to some of the guys over here in the live chat. Not on my phone, on over there. Wet Palette Miniatures, well done. Thank you so much, man. Thanks for coming along. I really appreciate that. Yeah, and of course, we're just a couple of nights away from Christmas. So, it's all kind of getting a little bit busy. I've managed to get all my presents in because I'm one of those people with ADHD. It turns out I've been kind of on that journey recently, discovering about that. That's why I don't do anything up until about 3 minutes before Christmas. But yeah, it's all kind of calming down now. It's the lull before the storm. So we're travelling away tomorrow, further down south. If you can actually go any further south than where I am, it's very difficult, but you can, to go to my partner's family, and then we're coming back up to go see my family, and then get ready for New Year's to kind of spend that time with friends and whatever. We are going to do a show, hopefully between now and New Year. I think it might actually be on New Year's Eve. I haven't quite worked that out yet, but I plan to be here for next week, which is going to be great. So for the 100th show, I'm probably going to say it lots throughout the show, just kind of wanted to thank everybody who's been with me since the beginning, who's kind of joined on the way, and to say thanks for sharing the name of Easy 8 and for subscribing, and just helping me make this something more than just a little kind of a hobby thing that I tried to do during the pandemic, because when we were all in the lockdowns, that's what this show was all about. It was just, to kind of offer people the connectivity, to kind of get people talking and doing their hobbies, because we all just lost so much contact and we lost touch with our friends and our family, and it stayed. It became so much fun for me to do, and to kind of communicate with you guys. And I've loved every second of it. It's been hard. There have been life challenges that have kind of presented themselves on the way, and trying to make sure that I'm always staying current, that my technology is as good as I can be. I'm not a whiz. This isn't a professional thing at all, but I feel like with every episode and with the slow incremental climb in subscribers, I feel that it becomes more professional, and that fills me with joy. So thank you very much for being a part of that. If you are painting anything this evening, I would love to know about it, so please do tell me about it. Either drop it in there with Wet Palette Miniatures and myself, and maybe anybody else who joins in this evening, and talk to me about it. I genuinely have interest. That's why I do the show. Genuinely interested in what it is that you do. You guys out there are so much more talented than I am, and I generally feel motivated and inspired to paint alongside you, which is one of the reasons why I do this show. If you want to show pictures of what you can do, you can either come along at the end of the show, or any time. You can kind of join us on Discord at the Easy 8 After Party. There's a link just down there in the description of this video. Dave Lester has joined us. Good evening. Happy 100. Thanks very much. Feels like my 100th birthday. Thanks very much, and welcome to the show. Thanks for coming along. So if you want to show pictures, you can put them in Discord, or you can go along to Facebook, because we're on Facebook as well. I got the right one there. And you can kind of put your pictures on there. Facebook doesn't allow you to post pictures directly to the wall, but if you find like the link to the show, here it is, the link to the show, you can pop your photos of whatever it is you're working on as a comment to that. That's what people kind of do nowadays, and I genuinely interact with everybody's comments, answer all the questions, just kind of get talking, and I look at everything you guys send me, because like I say, I'm genuinely interested. Tonight, what am I going to be doing? I'm going to say it, I'm going to finish those Termagants. I wanted to get them finished last week. I didn't. one of the reasons I can get them done is because the basing paints, and I always forget this, they take flipping ages to dry. And then when they had dried, I painted them. And then as I sat there and looked at them, I was like, Dad, this isn't the colour that I wanted. I'm always looking for, I'm always looking for the perfect colour for like this kind of ash waste sort of idea on my bases. And I thought I had the right solution. I don't think I did. So what I did is I went back. I was using this from Games Workshop, Crackle Paint. This is like a grey colour. I really like that grey colour. What I don't have is a grey colour to match that to paint the landscapes around the Crackle Paint. So what I did is I just watered that down and I just went back over it and I painted everything with that colour. The bases look a little bit messy, but they're messy miniatures anyway, and I don't really care about that so much. I just want them to look halfway there. So you'll see in just a second. I'm going to be painting some weeds. This is something that I touched on last week. So I was doing like that kind of red weed idea, if you remember, where I was cutting up some aquarium plants. I had a couple of them. Here's one. They are quite bushly. There's loads on there. I'll probably do my entire Tyranid army with this one, and I've got another one as well. And I just cut off some fronds, and the idea today is to paint those red, along with some little sort of clay vines that I've done some of my other miniatures in the past. I'm going to paint those all red, then I'm going to glue them into place, and then I'm going to varnish all of these Tyranids, and then I'm going to get started on the next project, which is that. Okay, cool. Right, moving on then. I'm going to take you over to the workbench, but before I do, please, if you do like what we do here at Easy 8, please do very strongly consider liking us on Facebook or any of our social media platforms. Like, follow, share. That's a really big one for me. Please share. Tell a friend. Tell someone who's not really into the hobby to get them involved in the hobby, or people that just need to know about it so that they can paint along with us. And most importantly of all, if you could subscribe or get your friends to subscribe. A couple of weeks ago, I said, hey, it would be lovely if we could get away from the 64 subscribers and climb closer to 70. And then I had a few more subscribers, like literally overnight. I was like, oh, all I have to do is ask. So I said, hey, could I have some more subscribers? And I went up to 68. And then I said it again on the next show, which was last week, and it went to 70. So we got to 70 before Christmas. That's what I asked. Can I have 70 subscribers before Christmas? We got to 72. Like, I'm blown away. So from the bottom of my heart and bottom places, wherever gratitude has to come from, thank you very much. Like, that, it really has made my day to get the 72 subscribers before Christmas. It'd be great if we could get to 75. Can we get to 75? 75 before Christmas. We've got 2 days. I'll include Christmas Day as a part of that as well. 75 subscribers, or by New Year. That'd be great. Or none. You do you. You do what you want to do. So yeah, like, follow, share, subscribe. That'd be great. Thanks. Okay, let's take you to the workbench and show you what I'm working on. Of course. If you remember last week, I got quite drunk as well. That was funny, wasn't it? Lost the ability to talk. Oh, okay, cool. So here are some little features that I'm working on today. So here's that little frond. I know it's very small. I can zoom in if you want to in a second. Here's that little frond that I was sort of working on last week. I kind of painted it red. I stained it with a violet colour, and then I dry brushed it to kind of bring that red back up a little bit. It didn't really go the right colour. It's quite close, but I want it a little bit darker. You can see on this horn we've got here. See how that red kind of just pops? It sets off against the background of that kind of, you know, wasted grey. And it stands out against the sort of yellow as well. I really like it. That's kind of the idea with these. So I'm going to repaint all of it. So I've just got these 4 little vines, these 3 little fronds. I'm going to have basically 1 frond with a vine, and then there's going to be 1 vine without a frond because I want it to be a bit different. That means that not every Termagant I'm going to have is going to have these. I've got 8 that are here painted. 4 of them will have these plants, and then of course I've still got another 8 of these to go, but I'm going to be painting these privately in the background while we do other projects on the show, because you're probably really fed up with these Termagants by now. I am. Anyway, those ones aren't going to have any, so it's just a kind of selection, a select few of Termagants throughout my you know, my collection that will have them. Some will have other little bits and pieces on them. Anyway, what I need, of course, is a piece of paper that I actually conveniently have misplaced, that I like to spray with my airbrush onto. What have I done with it? Have I lost it? I may have to get something else to spray onto, because I don't like to spray directly onto here. Oh, there it is, right there. My workshop is so messy at the moment. Here we go. So I just like to have a piece of paper that you can see that I do all my spraying on. I've actually lined all of these up with specific miniatures, not the fronds, not the little leafy bits, but these vines. I've actually lined them up with or pair them up with their they're going to be parent Tyranid, because their feet and hands are in different positions, and the bases actually make for different sort of seatings, they're placements for these little vines. So they're actually kind of lined up. Hopefully I won't mix them up. If I do, then do you know what? Who cares? But I just try to do as best I possibly can. So I'm just going to spray them red. That's the first thing that I'm going to do today. So yeah, I'm going to get these ones done here first, I think, and I'm going to redo this one here because I think I should. Holding these in place while I spray them is going to be the biggest challenge of the evening. So I have with me here some little tweezers. They're not the best tweezers. They're probably older than I am, if not as old. So I'm just going to hold them in place and give them a gentle spray with that. Cool. So I'm going to crack on with that now. I've got my airbrush here ready, all cleaned up and ready to rock and roll before the show, so hopefully there'll be no problems with that. And I'm going to be using Vallejo Game Air Gory Red. It's like a sort of a darkish red. It's not a scarlet, it's more of a crimson. Give him a good old shake. The lid was coming off of my fingers then, that would have been awful. Could you imagine that, spraying it all over the place? I had a putty explosion yesterday, so I was using plastic putty, and there was a clog in the pot, and I gave it a squish, and the end came off, and plastic putty went everywhere. I managed to save, actually, probably 99% of it, which was quite an achievement. This needs to have a really good shake, because I want to get it in the airbrush, so I'm just going to pop this over, you guessed it, on the Easy 8 Waz-O-Matic. Give it a waz. It's a really good old mix. I haven't used the airbrush for a while, actually. It'd be quite nice just to kind of pull the trigger on that, because I haven't done it for a while. Just giving it a good old shake. I like to turn the pot around, like do it on the side and do it upside down, just to kind of mix that paint. Give it a good shake all the way through. There's you know, some videos out there on YouTube that say that shaking them even on a vortex mixer isn't enough to kind of get the yeah, the lid was coming off. Look, it isn't enough to get the sort of the medium and the pigment all kind of mixed up. But I find this is fine. Like I'm not a pro. I'm nowhere near it. So this is good enough for me. But of course, if anyone's got any sort of contradictions to that, or you know, reasons, proof or evidence to kind of talk me into doing a better job of mixing my paints, I'd love to hear about it, because I could be doing it wrong. I'm just going to pop 4 drops in there. I don't think I'm going to put any what do you call it, I'm not going to put any thinner or anything like that in there. This should just go through the airbrush, and having recently been cleaned, I'm not foreseeing a massive issue, he says, touch wood. So okay, just going to make sure that everything that can blow around is just off to the side. What I will do, I'll zoom in quickly, because I think we're a bit too far out here, aren't we? Let's zoom in a little. That's as far as we're going to. That's as far as we're going to go, isn't it? Okay. Can I move the camera a little bit? Doesn't want to. Do you know what? That's fine. That's okay. Clearly I'm having a little bit of a tech conflict there. Doesn't want to kind of zoom in or do anything. Whatever. I'm not fussed. Normally if I use those controls it does stuff, but not today. Here we go. That's going on quite dark. That might just be because I've been looking at a lighter red frond thing already this evening. But I might come back and put a bit of white on them. That won't take me very long at all. But to undercoat them to make that red sort of show up a little bit more. But, you know, I like it. That's cool. Okay, the next one. What I'm trying to be really careful about here, like I say, is not blowing them around all over the place. As I'm blowing onto this one, that one there might, like, blow away. Because this, even though it's a tiny little airbrush, it does create quite a bit of draft. Yeah, it's blowing away already. So let me reposition you. Where are you going to go? I'm doing this with my left hand. Let me put the airbrush down. You are embarrassing me in front of all my friends. Go over there. Okay. Oh. Nice. There we go. Now we were concerned, I say we, me, the community, some people were saying last week that because of the sort of plastic these things are made out of, and the fact that they're quite bendy, they're like a rubberized plastic. Come on now. That just by handling them, the paint that you put on could come off, and being that they're being airbrushed, that's more likely to happen, I think. So I'm really quite nervous about over handling them once they've been painted. This one here, you can see it's a little bit brighter than the others, because I dry brushed them with oranges and all sorts last week. Too much. So yeah, I want to kind of get them painted and onto the model as quick as possible. I'm going to super glue them on, and then I'm just going to varnish them, and hopefully that'll be enough to protect them. The one I did last week, so this one here, when I painted them, I painted them by hand, so with a brush, obviously, and the paint seemed to be pretty impervious to damage. We'll see. Here's my little clay ones. I think these should be strong enough or heavy enough to not be blown around by gentle airbrushing. So I'm just popping them all down here. They look like some sort of alien text, don't they? I spray kind of down more, I need a bit more paint in there. That should prevent them from blowing around too much. They do still want to blow around though, so I'm trying to be very careful now. Stay there, stay there. You. So all I did with these were made with this substance, Procreate. It's a not an act. it's a putty, a two-part polymer clay, which is very much like milliput or green stuff, but it's really tough. Apparently, it's really good for sculpting. So once you've kind of got your basic shape and it goes solid, it's really good for carving and sanding. It's really hard to blend those two resin types together. It's really difficult to you know, kind of get them supple and make sure that they've mixed well together. And it took me ages to roll them out, and I just got a steel ruler, and I was playing some video games with my friends last night, which I don't get to do very often, and I just sat there making this really long sausage. I actually made too much of it. This is the big chunk that I made, so actually out of all of it, that's all I used. But I was able to get the steel ruler, and I made these really thin things. I just cut them into 4 pieces, and then once they've done 4, I got to get these to the right sort of length that I want them to be. I just kind of give them a twist, alternating at each end, and they kind of just do all these weird sort of loops and things, and I just kind of, you know, pick which ones I like and put them on the models then. So that's all this really is. I'm going to move these off of the camera now, because they do still want to blow around. Oh, you come on. Fine dexterity and motor skills is something that clearly I don't possess. A little bit of dust has got onto that one now. Some modelling, putty, sanding. Right. Do you remember I said earlier on I had them all like lined up in the right order? Yeah, I've messed that up now. Who cares? Oh, okay, cool. There we go. Right. Back to the first one then. Right, I'm just going to turn these over, and I'm just going to spray on the other sides of them, and then I might see if they need like more coats or something like that. Oh, I've gone through that paint already. I feel like some sort of weird biologist in a lab or something. Have I definitely run out? Yep, okay. Wonderful. And I think But the one I did the other day is, this will be fine with just one coat. And if there's any little bits that I've missed or that I scratch off, or where the tweezers have been holding when they go on the model, and I go like, oh, that's really easy to see, I'll just get a brush and I'll just kind of dab those colours back in. Stafford has joined us. Hi Staff, thanks for coming along, mate. Well done on 100 episodes. Evening all. Good evening, Staff, says Dave. Thanks for coming along, man, and thanks for the 100 episode message. That's, yeah, great. Having a cup of tea there to celebrate. So, kind of just want to let them sort of dry just a little bit first, but I'm just going to do the undersides of these ones. I'm probably rushing it a little bit. Right, I'm going to hold here, and I'm going to hit this guy. Stops them from blowing around if I do it one at a time, right? He says. Lovely. Behave yourself. Lovely, okay. Then there's that one. I think my next investment will be a decent pair of tweezers. It's one of those bits of equipment that I often forget about, really, because I don't really use them that much. But until I need them, I'm like, oh yeah, these are rubbish. Tweezer rubbish. Oh, that's so funny. Oh, puntastic for the 100 episode. 100 episode. Alright, I'm done now. Sorry. Here's this one. Still laughing at my puns. I'm going to drop him. Come on, behave. Behave. There we go. One more to do. Underside. There he is. Just got to the end there, and I've just run out in the airbrush again. Fantastic. So we'll let these dry on the side just over there. They probably need a little bit more work doing to them, but they obviously need some time to dry. What I want to do in a minute is I'm going to use a little bit of Drutchy Violet on them. This has less effect on them than I think I'd actually like, but it just kind of makes them look a little bit more, I don't know the right word, organ, to make them look a little bit more veiny. I suppose I've got hiccups, I just had dinner, I'm so sorry. But it makes them look a little bit more real, a little bit more biological. I kind of want them to be grotesque and alien. That's the whole point of this, right? So I put this on them. I don't go heavy with it. If I do go too heavy, then I'm thinking what I'll do, what I did on this Hormigaunt here, is that I'll just dry brush him back up using the same colour. I can see, if with my eye, I can see there's some bits that are a little bit brighter in red, some that are a bit darker with the purple colour. Yeah, so I've got a little bit of sort of leeway if I want to, but I'm going to let those dry so that when that Drutchy Violet goes on, it doesn't basically crack that paint and pull it off. So we need to wait for a minute. What I will do is I'll give my airbrush a quick purge, because I spent all that time earlier on cleaning it out. Let's just get a little bit of 50-50 cleaner water in there, because you know what I'm like with my airbrush. I'll use my grubby old cleaning brush, which I don't go mental cleaning the inside of the hopper, because that's where it dries the most heavily, if that's the right phrase, the right sentence. So if I start cleaning in here, it's got probably a big skin, I'll end up knocking big flakes off into the actual airbrush, and obviously I don't want that. So it's just the little filmy bit inside the actual paint chamber. You can see all those air bubbles now. That's because there's a slight blockage in the airbrush. There we go, it's gone through. A blockage being a little bit of dry paint. So it's really important to give it a purge. Cool, there we go. Still a little bit of red coming out there, so I might put another drop in. What did I do with it? There it is. blow that out onto the paper here. See that red still coming out. Bit grim. But that's alright. I'm not going to be doing much more with it. I'll be using varnish a bit later, but it needs to be clean for that. So there, just pop that over there. So the Termagants then. As you can see, they've gone much lighter than they were last week. I haven't got a version here to show you what they were last week, so if you want to see, go back an episode and you can see how dark they were at the end. This stuff says it's turning into a pun to mine. That's very funny, actually. I quite like that. They still need their rims neatening up. They've got the right colour on them, so they'll just need a little bit of edges around here. You can see there's a little bit untidy. So yeah, the bases aren't the best, but if you remember, these were actually quite crappy anyway. They weren't very clean models. A lot of their bases had bits of stuff on them already, so I'm just looking to tidy them up, get these red things on them, and away we go, as they say in Rick and Morty. Clean my brush out. There. Cool. So what I might do now, just while that stuff over there is drying, is I'm just going to neaten up the rims. So I'm going to need my really light grey. I use Administratum grey, which is my highlight grey that I use on their carapace. It's been a little while since I've used this, so again, going to give it a really good shake on the Easy 8 pattern pended Wazomatic. It's not pattern pending, it's not. Not in the slightest. It's a nail varnish shaker, bottle shaker. It's a really cheap Vortex. But shaky paints. Give them a waz. Okay. Nice. So I'm going to use my sable brush, my number 1. I actually use this one probably the least out of all my sable brushes. I don't think I'm going to thin this down. I'm just going to control the amount of paint I've got on there because I want it to kind of cover quite quickly. A bit of a cheapskate way of doing it, but I say that the bases are already quite mucky anyway. They're all a bit unneat and untidy. And you can see that on this one here, and if you can see it quite closely, because for some reason my zoom wasn't working, that there's quite a dark overspill from the colour on the top. So if I was to water this paint down, it would take forever and ever to kind of go over that. Try and be as quick as I possibly can. This will take me a few minutes. Talk amongst yourselves. I find this part of the process actually really quite therapeutic because it's quite easy to get a really nice finish on the base rims. Wazomatics and stuff, yeah. I do it just for you, mate. You know that, right? Yeah, I find it's quite therapeutic, and it just tidies everything up. And if you've got any kind of like sort of tidy disorders mentally, like OCD or any kind of tendencies like that, this just kind of really neatens up the side of the page, doesn't it? Take it from the pot. I've actually put a little bit on my palette. I was actually really keen on cleaning my palette this week, just for you guys, because last week got some complaints, didn't I? Yeah, I forgot. There's no excuse. I'm so sorry. Well, I like my palette. I use it for reference. My reds go there. My dirty stuff goes over there. Easy. What more do you need? That's one base rim done. Cool. Moving on to the next. Oh, if you don't like the condition of my palette, something else I forgot to do prior to the show. This is my paint water. Yep. Do as I say, not as I do. Trying to be professional, it's just really embarrassing. So you guys that are watching right now, are you all ready for Christmas? If you got all the food in for all the family, if you got all your presents and all your shopping done, is your Christmas tree up? Is everything wrapped? I've still got one to wrap. Staff says, I really hope I don't get more tanks for Christmas. Any more tracks to be painted will drive me mental. Yeah. For those of you that don't know Stafford has acquired himself quite a collection of 15mm tanks. Staff lives fairly local to me, so we play Water Tanker. I can say on the odd occasion, quite regularly actually, and it's just a brilliant game to play. I spoke about it loads in the past, I won't go into too much detail now, but yeah, his collection got away with you, didn't it, mate? That's another rim done. Lovely, lovely. Okay, let's get this one done. Look at all that stuff just stuck to the side of the base there. Ugh, rubbish. Dave says you'll probably get tanks. Yeah. Hey, there ain't nothing bad about it though, mate. If you've got more tanks, you've got more tanks, right? But yeah, painting tank tracks is a... Oh, it's a nightmare, isn't it? It's a real faff. Good Warhammer 40,000, where you don't have to paint... Wow, wait a minute. Tank tracks in that too. Getting this done at quite a good pace here, actually quite enjoying myself. Knowing that before the end of the show, these bad boys are going to be done. I'm saying it, I'm declaring it, they're going to be done. That's my promise to you, to me. I'll be here till Christmas if I have to be. I won't. Bit of a gnarly edge on this base here, where it looks like whatever textures or basing material that I or the previous owner have been using is just all kind of gathered up on the sides there, so I'm just trying to keep it as neat as I possibly can without going crazy on it. Who cares? There we go. Halfway through. That dark colour that I'm painting over there, that is the colour that I'd painted the train last week. And while I thought I was onto a winner last week, it didn't take me very long to change my mind. So I went back on it. I have tried to actually reach out to Green Stuff World because I wanted the same colour that's in their crackle paint, that grey paint, because I really like the colour and I really like the way that the crackle paint dries matte, and I wondered if they had an acrylic paint colour in their range that would achieve the same colour, like that isn't a crackle paint but is the same grey, if that makes sense. And yeah, they haven't got back to me. They must be very busy or have just not seen my message. I got through them, got through to them, or say got through to them, I didn't. I sent them a message on their community Facebook messenger, so I think I probably need to send them an email or give them a phone call maybe. I can see that John from Out of This World Models and Minis has joined us. Hi mate. Hi gang. Hi mate. How are you? I understand that you got your family with you for this Christmas, so I hope you're having a wonderful time. Have you been doing any more painting? Have you got any more projects on the go? I've been obviously up till recently. I've been watching you do your clockwork dragon. It looks amazing. Have you got any more done on that? It's probably what I should have led with. But excited that you joined the chat there, that's all. Very cold here in this part of the US, -2 with a wind chill of -30. Yes, you've got what we're calling, I believe, or the news here is calling the bomb storm or something like that. Bomb storm, bomb chill or something, where it's supposed to like plummet to like -40 and beyond, isn't it? So make sure that you stay safe out there, man. I mean, that could be taken a bit too lightly, I think. So yeah, in all seriousness, look after yourself, stay safe, because the weather, especially that bad, -30 wind chill, can cause some serious problems. Don't let your paints freeze. It's actually, while it's a little bit cooler again in the studio here, it's actually a little bit milder than what it has been lately. Last couple of weeks, it's just been just generally uncomfortable. Some parts of the country went to like -9, but it's been like on the odd day like -2, -3 at its coldest average, really. But lately it's kind of gone back up again. It's kind of up and down, up and down. I've got a little electric radiator beside me, so if it does get too uncomfortable, I can just pop that on. And last week that made it a bit more comfortable in here. Huge congratulations on 100 episodes. Thanks very much, man. I'm really stoked. I'm absolutely over the moon with it. I said a big thank you at the beginning of the show, so I'm not going to constantly repeat myself for the people that have been at the beginning. But if you want to see that thank you, go back to the beginning of the show. But thanks. It's been a great journey. And I've made some actual general friends, yourself notwithstanding. So even if the painting was a flop, was a failure, I'm really happy and proud. This base feels like it's going on for ages. Why is that? Almost there. so cold. Still plugging away at the dragon, having a great time with it. Yeah, it looks epic, man. It looks really, really good. I can't remember if I asked you. Is it an actual like a kit for a dragon, or is it something that you're having fun with in kind of, making or building on top of at the same time? Is it from a specific sort of like franchise or company or something? Dead interested. Last one, here we go. Got a bit too much of my brush there. There is so much on these minis that I'm unhappy with, that I could have done better. But as you probably have guessed by now, that I keep on harping on, not minis that I was particularly fussed about making them super neat. As long as from a distance they could, blend in and join the rest of my fleet, my hive, I would be really happy with that. But still, there are things on them that I don't think I've achieved well. Like even go back to last week with the colours on the soil, on the earth, whatever. I feel that going over them several times has kind of cheapened it a little bit. But I never expected it to, be amazing. But there are things that I would have done differently. Anyway, who cares about that? We are done on that front. So, washed my brush out in my excessively clean water. I've just realised that I feel very zoomed in my little frame up here. I think I actually had the wrong zoom settings for the wrong camera zoom settings. So when I was trying to zoom into my workbench earlier on, I was probably zooming in on myself. Am I right? I'm going to go back and have a little look and see what happens if I zoom out. Yeah, I'm so sorry. I can't change that in the middle of the show. Oh well, whatever. Let's go back to the show. There we go. It's from Reaper Bones. It's called Wormgear, the Clockwork Dragon. Cool. Is it from a game or is it just a model that they released? Because there's a lot of companies that just release models without a particular game in mind. Aren't there? Let's close that pot. Lovely. Excuse me, another sip of tea. Yum. Okay, so it looks like that my vines and my leaves, I'm calling them leaves now because I got bored of calling them fronds, they all seem to be a nice crimson red. These leaves are a bit darker, probably because the paint's got that dark green that they were originally showing through, but that's fine. These little viney bits have come up a really lovely colour. This one appears to be stuck to that one, so let's separate those two. I had them in a specific order early on, but I've lost that now, haven't I? They're a little bit bendy still. This one here needs actually a little bit of side coverage, so I might have to go back in and give them a quick blast on that one. That one there too. I expected this actually, to be fair. This, isn't something that's a bit of a shock. I expected I'd have to go and do a bit of side work on them. Work on the side. So I'm going to give them a quick blast now. And then what I might do is give the Termagants themselves a bit of a varnish before I start sticking things on them. Something that is interesting on them, you can see, if I bring this guy in quite close, bring a bit of light in, you can see the crackle paint on the side. This is some really good well-defined crackling. Is it going to show? Bring my light in a bit more, there we go. It's really good crackling, but you can see that over this side over here, it's gone really fine, of almost non-existent. I don't know why that is. When I was painting them to get the colours back again, I realised that and I was like, oh, that's weird. I'll slop some more paint on there, but because I'd had some watered down, I had still a little bit left over. So I've got some watered down stuff and I slopped it in there, but with water in there, I thought that'll be interesting. I wonder if adding an amount of water, but still piling the paint on would be whether it would have the same effect as large cracks, and it dried like this, so it does not. If you add more water, it dissipates quite quickly the sort of big crack style thingy, nature of the paint. So if you are watering down your crackle paints, you lose the larger cracks. I am tempted to go back over with a thicker lump, but actually what I'm going to do is I'm just going to hurry up and get these done and stick these red vines on them. So going to get my spraying sheet back out again, and I'm going to give these guys one last go. The spray on the sides, because they actually are still quite a bit grey in some areas. Although I am quite tempted just to kind of get them, no, screw it, let's get them done, let's get them finished, because we are at 7:45 already. I'm going to glue them on to Termagant bases, and then I'm going to brush paint any exposed bits. So the reason I had them kind of in an order is because I had lined these little vines up. So this one went on here like that. You can see how it kind of goes around his foot a little bit. I quite like that. Bring my light in. Yeah, I like that, see? And it just stands out as something kind of cool on his base. What I might do is give them a little bit of purple, because that's what we were going to do before we went too far, wasn't it? Now, if I'm going to do purple, maybe I should. Do you know what? I'm going to spray him. Hurry up, Danny. So this is what I mentioned. If you go back and have a little look at the schedule for tonight, a deep-seated neuroses. It was me having a laugh at myself. This is my mental state constantly. This is why I struggle to get things done. This is because I have a certain amount of indecision. I can never truly lock in on something. I get something in my head and I'm like, yeah, I'll just do this. Or actually, no, I'll go back and I'll do it. And it is kind of funny to a degree, but actually it is crippling. Because you've got to consider that I'm trying to get things done. Got a tiny blockage in my airbrush, which is giving me loads of air bubbles. Let's get rid of those. This is why, I've still got these Termagants that are unpainted. I'm not even going to hold it with tweezers. There we go. air bubbles are doing my head in. There we go, I had a bit of a blockage in the nozzle. I can never decide what colours I want to do things. Like I've been deciding on what grey to use for how long. I still change my mind when it comes to things like Nuln oil. And while I laugh and say deep-seated neuroses, it really is. It is ADHD. And it's not that I have a deficit of attention. That's actually an absolutely rubbish title for what ADHD is. I'm not hyper. I have hyper moments for sure. I'm not deficit of attention, but it comes with a lot of hang-ups in other places. Object permanence is another one. That's a fun one. That means if I put this away, I will forget about it for potentially years. Cool, okay, right. I think I'm done with that. I'm going to flush a bit more of this stuff through it because it was still clogging up a little bit. So just bear with me while I sort that out. And then what I'm going to do in a minute is I'm going to plop a load of Drutchy Violet onto them as their wash. And I might just do that through the break as well, just to kind of catch up a little bit. It's a 2-hour show, and I know I talk a little bit and I kind of introduce at the beginning, but the time really moves on. And if you consider that just this very little simple task of putting red things on a base and then painting those bases grey, how long it takes to get that done, you can see how easy it is for especially someone like myself who struggles just to kind of make decisions, etc. How easy it is to never get anything done. It might sound daft, but I'm having a lot of revelations lately. I'm just happy to be painting. Happy to be getting stuff done. Right, again, wash my brush off. How many of you struggle with that kind of sort of indecision factor? Does anybody else struggle with that too? I'd be really interested to know. Right, bit of Drutchy Violet. I'm going to give this a really good shake. It's a little bit of a rubbish one. I might even drop a little bit of thinner in there because I've left this one open in the past. So I might actually do that. Where's my thinner? I've left him open in the past quite a long time ago, and he's thickened up. He's like it's almost like it's gone like jelly-like. So it has a thickness to it that is quite unpleasant. So I'm just gonna, yeah, there we go. Accidentally dropped in a couple of drops there. What I'll do is I'm just going to close the pot up and I'm going to give him a really good waz, just to see how well that sort of reactivates the Drutchy Violet. And of course I'm doing that on, say it with me now, the Wazomatic. It's the ridiculous things in life that make me happy. And other things as well. Don't tell my partner. She's not ridiculous. Okay. It's quite a nasty paint. It seems to be a little bit runnier. Okay, I'm happy with that. For this, I will just use my army painter brush. Do you know what? It still could be. It still could be runnier. Okay. All I'm using is airbrush thinner. I use this little pot, but I've got like a whole litre of it somewhere. And I fill this one up because it's easier to use as an applicator. A dripper top. Any washier? Loads better. Okay, wonderful. I'm still going to add water to it as well. Rightio. So, all I'm going to do, these should be dry enough by now. So I'm just going to give him just a watering down of Drutchy Violet. Put my hand in some paint there. I'm such a mess. If you ever feel sorry for me, you can say it's fine. I'm sorry for myself half the time. leave that one there because that was the one that I painted last, so probably needs a little bit more time to dry. This one looks like an ampersand. When I do some of the bigger models, or even some terrain, I'd actually like to do quite a bit with this sort of vine thing. So I'd actually like to make vines that are coming out of the floor or something, and are, you know, crawling up the sides of statues and features. You know, making it like they're pulling down structures and stuff, because that's kind of what it would be doing. You know, Tyranids do have their own flora, but it's designed to be destructive and to take people out and to kind of tear down buildings and things. Why do they care about buildings? Because people are inside them. Sometimes there are resources that could be reduced, you know, into biomass for them to consume. So yeah, there's a reason to tear down things like that. These are going to need a little bit of time to dry, so I'm actually quite glad that we've got that done before the intermission, so they get a little bit of extra time to dry while we're not kind of doing anything on camera. And yeah, it should dry so I can glue them into place. Then of course I've got my fronds. Hello fronds. These guys are going to get a bit of a slap up too. That's quite heavy there, so I'm going to add quite a bit of water. Yeah, that's really cool. I like that. I don't know why I decided to go too bright with it last week. Like that purpley nature. Yeah, that's kind of cool. One more, here he is. Notice how I'm not even using the tweezers anymore. That's because earlier on I didn't want to get it all over my hands with the airbrush. So here I can just quite happily slap away. Slap, slap, slap. This one's a bit brighter than all the others because this is the one I did last week. Cool. Right, these guys can just sit there for 10-20 minutes, so yeah, see what happens. Ugh, all over me. Oh, some comments going in. Staff says, not indecision, I just hate painting. It's due to Easy 8 that I'm painting now. Thank you. I'm genuinely interested. Maybe you don't even know, so maybe it's a great opportunity to kind of delve into why you hate painting. Is it because it takes so long? Do you find it tedious? Do you find that your skill's not there? Or, you know, is there any reason? You know, maybe there was like a past trauma with painting. Oh my god, don't paint the miniatures. You know, which I just think it's interesting to kind of unpack that and get involved, because if I can help anyone kind of get past those sorts of blocks to actually not just get stuff done like you are, and well done to you, and thank you for giving me the credit. It's down to you, and maybe eventually you kind of become inspired and you want to paint, you enjoy that process. Would it be awesome if in 12 months time that you actually were, you know, doing stuff on a professional level? Not that you will want to, but I'm just saying, I just think it'd be cool. Yeah, I just find those sorts of things interesting. Out this World Models Minis. Waz, he's got the whirlpool symbols on there. Anyway, look, it's time for a quick break. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go and change my paint water, because that needs doing, and then in a minute when we come back, while we're still probably waiting for these to dry, we're going to have a look at that. Right, there we go. There's actually two of them. So yeah, in a few minutes you can have a look at this one and that one. There you go. It's exciting, isn't it? Anyway, back in 10. Go change your paint water. See you in a bit. Bye-bye. welcome back. I just for those of you that want proof, I went and changed my paint water. I went and stocked up on some water for cleaning up my airbrush, and I've just cleared up the table because I wanted to get on with some other bits and pieces this evening while my other paintwork is drying up. But before we went, well, just before we came back, Stafford went on to finish what he was talking about, what we were discussing just before we broke, which was that he finds the whole painting process tedious. He says, it's tedious, I'm not that good, I much prefer converting, cutting and sticking stuff together, which I've seen his stuff, like he is a very good sort of, what do you call it? Or just converter, I suppose. One who just enjoys kind of chopping things up, putting things together. He's actually quite a genius and a bit of a whiz when it comes to that sort of things. So well done to you on that one. When it comes to like the tedious painting, this is exactly what this show is all about, and I'm really glad that you find that just being a part of this community helps you feel motivated enough to get through it, even if you do find it tedious. I hope that one day, maybe not too far away, that you find it a little bit easier and enjoy it a bit more. My only suggestion, well, my advice would be, and I'm not really the sort of person to give advice, but the only advice that I could give is really just find shortcuts and refine those shortcuts so that not just only you become better at them, so that the results are better, if that makes sense. Everybody, even all the professionals, look for those shortcuts. So it's not like you're cheating. I don't think there is really a thing of cheating when it comes to painting. But you know, if you can find something that gets the job done, gets it quick, look to refine that process, improve it, make it better, and then you will start having really good-looking models, and you'll get through them quicker. So you'll feel better about it, and that's the dopamine hit, then, isn't it? So then it's like, okay, now I'm producing good things fast. I enjoy it a little bit more. But yeah. Maybe you'll never enjoy it. I don't know. That's up to you. And I hope that we help you along that journey. Jeff has come to join us. Oi, bit late. What I miss? Hi. Thanks for coming along, Dad. Cheers. I've just been finishing off my Termagants from last week because I didn't get all the colours properly on the bases. The Termagants themselves are just off to the side on a little box over here. I wanted to clear away my desk because I've got some little bits that are dry. The Termagants themselves are finished, but I want to finish their bases. So I've been making some little weeds and things, so I'm just waiting for the purple ink on there, or the purple stain, to dry. I'm showing you under the camera, but I'm not even on that right camera. But I've just got a load of these just waiting off the side here, so hopefully in about 10 minutes or so they should be a bit drier. I'm going to take you back over to the workbench. Just remember, I did it again, like I can't talk. Just remember that if you are new here at Easy 8, or if you're just tuning in, don't forget that you can find us on Facebook, Instagram and Discord at the end of the show for the Easy 8 after party. Don't forget to like, follow, share and subscribe. Every little bit that you do, even if it's just a tiny little thing, really helps me make this show grow and make me feel good about myself, which I really do. So thanks very much for everything you've done so far. Anyway, let's go to the workbench. So what was I trying to show you just a second ago? You can see that I've got my big red piece of paper out here. Here is one of the sort of the leaves. It is all now sort of red and purplyified. Bring a bit more light in there so you can see it a bit better. But yeah, that's kind of where we're at the moment. Yeah. I've also got, so I've got 3 of those, and I've got 4 little polymer clay vine things that are all painted up in the same colours. They're on my screen, they're showing up very, very dark, but I know for a fact that they're a bit brighter on a normal screen, so hopefully they don't look virtually black to you. Okay, cool. So what's the other project I'm going to be working on? I need to think of another project that I'm going to be doing once I finish these Termagants. I've still got 8 to do. I'm going to do those privately. They were taking me too long to make the show fun. So I went rummaging through some boxes. I've got 2 big boxes full of miniatures, one full of the Adeptus Mechanicus, which is the Martians, the Skitari, or the steampunky stuff, which I absolutely love. But I was having a really good time doing Tyranids, and I've got another big box of Tyranids kindly donated to me by Leslie, who hasn't been on the show for a little while, but generally does watch us. I wanted something a little bit bigger, but not massive. So I went with these miniatures, and I've never done these before. These are Tyrant Guard or Hive Guard. So you get 2 different types of guard models. You get Tyrant Guard and you get Hive Guard. Tyrant Guard are very shield-like when you look at them on the front, and they are there to stand in front of your really big leader, your Hive Tyrant, so that you have to go through them before you can get to it. These are Hive Guard. These are at points of interest that Tyranids want to look after, defend, etc. and basically they are really tough. They come in pairs. I've got 4 of them, so 2 of them are plastic, 2 of them are metal. The metal ones are already painted because I say all these models were donated to me. These were pre-built. They weren't built, I'm not going to say they were built badly. They were built, I think, fast to kind of get them made and put on the table. So there were a few errors with them, and you can see on these 2 here there's like a white line that goes down the top of their carapace. That was where there was a gap. That was why yesterday I was using plastic putty. So I basically I filled it in, let it dry-ish, scooped off a load of excess, and I sanded it down a little bit. When I was sanding it down, I pulled a little bit out. So what I did is I actually poured a little bit of super glue onto the cracks, because I know that super glue makes a really good filler. It's actually really quite hard to sand, so do be careful with it. So, and then you can also see that I was sanding on the tops, and there's got some scuff marks on there. Can you see those scuff marks? That's from the super glue, so do be careful with it if you are going to use super glue as a sander, as a filler. Yeah. I've neatened up a few bits and pieces. There were a few little mould lines on them, a few little bits of flash which I've cut away, and you can see on top of the gun there was a little bit of space to fill there and underneath, and the same on this one. There's a tiny bit at the top up there. And then the arms on one of them, I think it was on this fella, they weren't in the right position. They were slightly out and a bit wobbly, so I just took them apart. They were really easy to take apart, and I repositioned and re-glued them. They're going to be done in the same colour, so what I wanted to do was prime them, just because it's nice to get another project on the go. When you are struggling with a project like I've been with this horde of Termagants, it's nice just to have another project on the side. It does lead into getting carried away and having 16 projects all on the go that never get finished. So I am very aware of that going into this, but I think it's just nice to have that little bit of a motivational kick just to kind of start something a little bit newer. So that's what I'm going to do. I've got some white surface primer here. And what I'm going to be doing with this is just getting a layer on, and hopefully it will show me where there are any imperfections. Like if I've got on the carapace here, if that is still noticeable, that line, I can have another go at filling it or try and fill it with paint or something like that. On one of them, I think it was on this one here, I went a little bit too far. You probably barely see it, but the split between the 2 sides is actually quite noticeable at the bottom. I can turn that into a crack because I paint the cracks onto them, don't I? These should be fairly easy to paint. They've got a little bit of armor on their chest underneath, which would be a little bit tricky to get to, but nothing nowhere near as tricky as what I've done in the past. So I'm really looking forward to getting these done. These should be fairly quick to do. They don't have eyes, they're also blind, but their guns do have eyes. This one's got an impaler cannon. I think that impaler cannons are actually quite rare. This is one of the few models that can actually have them. And this one here has a shock cannon. I like these guns. I've said in the past that I don't like the ballistic style guns or the natural guns, the normal sort of looking guns or sort of more human-y guns on creatures that are supposed to be alien. I think it takes away from their alien thing. If these guys are going to have big fat guns, this is the sort of thing that I would expect to see. It's a giant electro barb. These weapons are actually quite devastating, and these guys are actually really quite hard to kill. So the 2 of them, they come quite expensive when it comes to game points. So yeah, during the break I was changing my water, etc. I was giving this a good waz on the old Wazomatic, but I'm going to give it another quick go just because it's good form and it's primer, so it's a little bit thicker, just a little bit. A lot of people like to turn their pressure up on their airbrush, so I might give that a go, and I'm going to put a little bit of thinner in there as well, because I think that's what was causing the slight blockages that I had a minute ago on the airbrush when I was spraying the red. Okay, there we go. So give that a little bit more of a shake. Bring the airbrush back over. Right, here we go. I'm just gonna plop like half a hopper's worth in there. It's probably about 12 or so drops to get to that point, and then I'm just gonna pop in probably 2 drops of thinner. I could sit here and start putting things like retarder medium or what's the medium that I like to use? Flow improver. Thank you very much. I like to put that in there sometimes, but at a primer level, just get it milky thin. Milky thin. That's all I need. Now I've taken a bit more time on the preparation of these models, even though that they were pre-built, so built before I got to them. I've been around them and meticulously taken off all the mould lines. I might find bits that I've missed, and that's what a part of this primer process is. It might reveal things to me that I can better see. I do want to do a better job on these than I did with the Termagants. A bit of spatter coming out of the nozzle there, but that's fine. So yeah, with the Termagants we're like a fast and furious kind of model to paint. These guys can look a little bit better. Hopefully they'll look really good, because I think these models are quite exciting. And they're enormous as well, so they're like, yeah, these guys are like 12 feet tall. A bit tricksy to hold because he's so big. Try not to go too crazy with the amount of paint that I'm putting on him. Get a little bit of paint build up there as well. It's very easy to go too much, especially when you've got a very thin paint. It comes out quite watery, builds up, and all of a sudden you've lost a load of detail. You've ruined your model before you started. One of the reasons why it's best to kind of go in with this pulsing sort of methodology when you come to like spraying your paint, rather than doing a continual pass, that also helps you get blockages in your airbrush. So by constantly doing these little pulses, every time you do a new pulse, it sort of blows free any kind of build-up, and hopefully that build-up hasn't solidified, it's still liquidy, which if it dried would cause you a blockage. Cool, that's one done. He's probably going to take quite a while to dry. So I'm just going to put him over there to the side. Coming back in with the shock cannon. I think this is my favourite of the two guns. When it comes to Tyranid guns, my favourite gun is going to be what is called the Barbed Strangler, which is a gun that's a little bit smaller than this. It's often carried by warriors. So they're a little bit smaller, but they're like a sub-leader class. And the Barbed Strangler, they're a little bit rarer, they're less common than the standard weapons. But basically it fires a high-speed bramble seed. And that bramble seed will bury into, hopefully, whatever organic victim at the other end, immediately germinate, and very rapidly a giant alien bramble bush will grow from it. And it grows so quickly and rapidly that it should overwhelm and hopefully consume and kill its squad. So you fire it into a group of, say, guardsmen or something, and they should instantly or virtually instantly be held up in a giant alien bramble bush that is probably alive and probably carnivorous, but extremely deadly. Going with a continual stream there, even though I just said it's probably best not to. I had a good flow going there. So I'm using white as my colour of choice for primer because I like to do a yellow over the top. I like them to be quite bright. That brightness does get dulled down because when that yellow goes on top of this primer, it is bright, man. It is really bright. With a little bit of wash with some like Seraphim Sepia, which is a nice light brown colour. It dulls them right down, but they still, maintain a colour brightness. And I think it looks really good on them, and it's much easier achieved obviously with a white undercoat. I just like everything about these aliens. They're very different from all the other ones. These guys have got really good secondary limbs, which are they're walking on their knuckles, the sculpts on them, the position on them. I just think they're fantastic. They're really, really good. Really obscure looking creature. Now I can still see that white line through the primer. It's got a bit shiny, so you might struggle to see it, but if you can see it there, that means that it's still not completely opaque, this paint. So it might mean that I need to come in and do another coat over later on That'd be like a quite a quick dusting over the top. What I mean by dusting is like a quick feathery approach, like that, yeah, like this, and it builds up, builds up. Give it a quick bit of air to help dry them down. Lovely. I'm just going to go back to the other one because I feel like I got a better coverage on the second one there as I got into the flow a bit better. So what I'll do is I'll just apply a bit of just cool air, help dry any paint that's kind of on there already, and then still got a little bit of paint left in there. That's kind of really what I was looking for to do, was using up what paint I've got. And we are done. Okay, so these guys are primed. I'll probably do some more priming on them. I'm gonna pop those guys over to the side. Gonna purge my airbrush. Let me get my purge pot. So I did that. There we go. Right. I just brought in some containers of water. Here we go. If there's anything left in there paint-wise, flush it through with a little bit of water. Dirty Xenos lover. I love a little bit of Xenos. Who doesn't love Tyranids, eh? Bit more water in there. Oy. And just to make sure, I now put a 50-50 mix of water cleaner in there. Just a couple of drops. I'm almost out in this little pot anyway, needs a refill. There we go. I just pump a little bit through, let it sit in there for a second, because it's probably kind of working on any sort of remnants that are in there, and then flush that through, and then to get rid of whatever cleaner's left in it and any other particles, another flush of water. It just seems to be my rhythm. It's just kind of the way I do it. I watch like pros on YouTube who've got like really big jugs of water. They're just kind of pouring it in there and they're putting them in buckets of water and just kind of blasting them through so their airbrushes are kind of actually submerged. I don't feel that I'm tidy enough to have that technique. Cool. Anyway, there we go. There's that bit done. So those are going to be the models that I'm going to be working on in coming episodes. My two Tyrant Guard and my Hive Guard. Sorry, not my Tyrant Guard. I prefer these models. The other ones, they've gone in the right direction. They're kind of like shield shaped when you look at them front on, and I get the idea. They're supposed to like be a walking blockade, a natural blockade, but I just prefer these creatures. I think they look really good. Thick paints get more waz, says John. Yes, they do. They get so much more waz. That tea is cold, but it is still tasty. Okay, I'm going back to my Termagants with their plant life. They are looking dry, are all my plants, which is good because I'm going to start super gluing them on now. So I'm going to bring my Termagants back in. Here we are. So I had them on my little Flame of War tank box. Don't get getting too excited, Stefan. I'm not actually doing tanks today. Cool, so I'm just going to pop these bad guys over here. Here we go. Right, and that box can go back down there. Cool. So these are the four that I've just these four here that are going to have the plants on them. And which one should I do first? Oh, they're actually stuck to the table. There we go. I'm going to do this one here first, I think. So I'm sorry about the zoom. I can't change it during the middle of the show without kind of going backstage to do it, and it will just probably take ages. So I'm really sorry. What can you do? Are these the ones that I was going to do this way? I feel like I've got them all mixed up now. It doesn't really matter, does it? Whatever. Who cares? Which one shall I do? I think I'll do it on... Choices. Could do it on this one. If I popped... Ooh. So what I could do is I could kind of wrap that around like that. That would look kind of cool, wouldn't it? So it looks like it's kind of, you know, in its environment. It's just kind of walking through some of this stuff. Yep, that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to probably put that one on there. I think I've actually found a better one to put him on. Doesn't want to come off now. There we go. Probably this one. Probably the better one to put him on. No, I preferred him on that one. Okay, cool. Right, I'm just going to get some super glue on there. Where is my super glue? I'm going to be using Green Stuff World's Instant Cyanoacrylate. Acrylate? Yeah, whatever. Super glue. Let's try to be fancy pants. Have I got a little pot or tin or something to drop this onto like I normally do? No, I didn't. I've had a good old tidy up in my workshop in recent weeks. So what I'll do is I'll just use this base here and I'll just drop some stuff on there. I don't like to put super glue onto my acrylics palette, so I've just got like a old test base here. Calm down. Yay! Hornissa! So I'm just going to put a dollop of super glue there. Seal that back up because it will dry. I've also got some activator here if I feel that I need it, probably more for when the leaves go on. That can be quite an overwhelming thing because it's a spray, so you can't control how much goes on. You just go poof, and you get it all over your model. So what I like to do is spray a little bit into a container, and then I like to drop it on with like a needle point or something like that. Cool, so I am going to use this little bradawl, which is just a pointy metal pokey thing, and what I'm going to do is I will put a little bit of super glue into some contact points where I need it to go and sit. Now I've already said that this one's going to just kind of slot in around here like that. There we go. And I like it that sometimes they just poke off the base a little bit. I think that just kind of adds to it, you know. So can I get him to slide on a bit more? He's stuck on his claw. There we go. Excellent. Oh, I like that. That's really good. Actually hides a multitude of sins as well. So, just going to get a little bit of super glue on the end of this pointy thing. So there's a little blob on the end. And this is all I'm going to do. Just going to wipe it on underneath. If I can actually get it into the right place. There we go. And I'll just do a little bit on this side over here as well, just to make sure that he's anchored in nice and tight. Lovely. He is done. And then there was applause. That's my impression of applause. Weird. Right. I'm going to use this one next, one that looks like an ampersand. That an ampersand. Oh, what is an ampersand, I hear you ask? That is the and symbol. Yeah, I'm intelligent as well. Who knew? I might put him on this one here. I think because he's got a bit of restricted space on there. So I could pop him on like that. Maybe. Or maybe like this. Oops. Yeah, that looks kind of cool. I like that. I like the way that goes on. Yeah, neato. Slide him into a slightly better position. Use my paintbrush to just ease him in. Oh, I've got a bit of primer spray on my brush. I'll have to clean it off in a minute. Yeah, do you know what? I quite like the way that just sits like that, actually. Right, brilliant. Again, a bit of super glue on the end of my pointy thing. Don't know if you can really see how I'm applying it. I'm just literally just touching it onto the viney thing and just kind of pushing them down onto the base. There's no real like finesse to it. I'm being quite brutish, really. Because I could coat the whole thing in super glue and then stick it down, but that's just really crude and probably even more brutish than what I'm doing. I just think it's unnecessary. Right, got a couple of weirder looking shapes here. Here we are. They're still quite pliable, still quite bendy, and I reckon like over a period of a couple of weeks they'll really harden up. I remember that being the case with the other ones that I did. He's going to go on just like this. That's it. That's simple. This one I could probably get away with actually putting glue right onto him, so pop him off. Gonna get a bit more glue on there. Have they been varnished yet? No, they haven't. They're going to be varnished once all of these plant features are on them. So it will hide any glossiness of any of the sort of paints and inks that I've been using, or the, sorry, washes, I keep calling them inks, or any of the glue might leave a bit of an obvious residue that will shine. All of that will be hidden with a nice bit of matte varnish, as is I like to finish off all my minis. It helps protect them as well. Okay, so he's just going to go on like that. I'll just use my paintbrush just to gently push him down so that he makes contact. Stop rolling around, please. Thank you. Yeah, he'll make contact now, and that should be nice and secure. Overnight, all the glue will dry, and then I'll be a happy chappy. Last one then. This is little, I call it the pig's tail. Oink. Here we go. Like a little telephone cable. And this one was the hardest one to put on there because it's quite a weird shape. He's actually got some discoloration on him, has he? Nope, it's just the shininess I mistook for. Shininess was discoloration. I think you would actually wrap around his arm a little bit. Yeah, that's so cool. Yeah, that'll do. So I can actually glue it to the Tyranid's arm for a stronger anchor point. Like I say, I like it that he sticks off the base a little bit. It just adds a little bit of dynamicness to the base. Perfectly positioned. Try to scoop up whatever glue I've got left, making a real ham of it. Cool. And again, just let that roll away. I'll just push him down. There we go. Cool. Not completed yet. Oh, I just got a personal message. Cool. Brilliant. Right. What I will do, just clean the excess glue off of there, put that to a side, because now the little planty plants have got to go on there, but there's only 3 of them, remember. This one has got a little bit of discoloration on it because the Drutchy Violet goes on and it dries whitish, but when I get him glued in place, I'll come back a bit later on, I'll probably just neaten them up a little bit. It might be that the violet colour is so old now that it's just kind of deteriorating. I'm looking at them all, they've all got a little bit of white on them, but this one here is the worst, but I can sort that out, no problem at all. I'll stick a bit of crimson on them later on. So, where am I going to pop this? I think if I just kind of stuck him down in there like that, it just poke out the side a little bit, and that'll be really, really cool. What I'm going to do is I'm just going to put a big blob of super glue on the side of the base here so that I can just dip that plant straight into it. And then what I'll do is I'll come in with a little bit of activator. I have got a little plastic pot here. What I'll do, just clean all the dust out of him, like that, and I'll just spray into it with activator, and then there'll be a little puddle at the bottom, right? So here we go. Like that. It's quite a strong smell, that. It just gives me a lot more control over it, and I've just got like a large skewer stick here, which I'll just dip into, and it allows me to, you know, speed things up. So, just going to hold on to him. Going to scoop up a load of super glue, quite crude with the amount that I've got there, and I'm just going to drop him straight in like that. I don't think I need the activator. The glue will dry on its own, but that's cool there, right? I've got another wideish one here, and this one is going to go just underneath, so I'm actually hiding the root of these little stems. under the vines to make it look like that they're kind of all growing as the same thing. You know what I mean. What I'm going to do with that one is I think I will actually put a bit of activator in, so I'm just going to leave him sitting like that at the angle that will hold that in the right place, and all I'm going to do there is I'm just going to get hopefully a big old blob on the end of this, and then I'm just going to let it kind of run in. That's what I'm hoping. Excellent. There we go. Cool, huh? Really, really cool. I'm loving these. One more. Okay. Where's he gonna go? This one, I kind of want him to get him through the little curly bit just there. Like that. I think that would be really cool. So I can smother the whole underside, so whatever he touches and rests on will help hold him in place. Yeah, like that. And then literally just going to post it through that little piggy tail just there. And now, again, just going to leave him resting like that. I'm going to get whatever little activator I've got in here. Less comes out than I expected, actually, you know, from that spray. Just kind of goes everywhere. If you're trying to do some detail work like this, difficult to control. There we go. Right, so the plants are on them. I will just neaten up the colours on them a little bit because I can do that very, very quickly. Right, where's my gory red? Here we go. Got a bit of that on standby. What I could do is drop a bit of Carabao Crimson in there. It's essentially the same colour, right? Okay. I'm going to use my sable brush, my number 0, because it's got the finest point. And I actually want to be quite precise with this. That's the perfect colour to use. I will use that over the actual paint. See if I can just open it up a bit more. What's the time? 22. Loads of time. Loads of time. Never like those paint pots. They always close on you. Often flicking paint everywhere. Cool, there's that one repaired. Let's go back to this one here. It's got a little bit of white on him as well. Oh, of course you would. Don't know if you can see it on the camera, but yeah, it's like the paint has split. You know, you can see it there, the little white marks left on it. Quite horrendously on the underside of this one. This one might need a bit of strengthening, a bit of harder securing. He's a bit flimsy, this one. Tried to sneak in under the lid there to get a little pokey bit of paint out, but it didn't work. Just trying to be sly. Okay, there we go. Lovely. Wash the old brush out. And while we could applaud that they are not done yet, because, like Jeff said, varnishing. So, I'll move my guard over there a little bit. Let's just put the plant ones to the back, just let them dry a little bit faster than the others, or a bit longer, sorry. Choose the right words. Pop those over there. Okay, back in with my protective sheet. Here we go. This is quite thick now with paint on it. What I'm going to do is I'm going to put a little bit of varnish in there and give them a good old spray down. So, matte varnish. Doesn't really need much of a shake because there's no pigment to it. It is literally just liquid resin that dries with a matte finish. And I've discovered that putting a bit of thinner in there really does help this shift because it's really quite thick. It's quite unpleasant stuff to go through the airbrush. So where's my thinner? There it is. Varnish them might toughen them up a bit. Yeah, it really does. I've never had a problem with the toughness of my models once they've been varnished, but if you leave them unvarnished, handling them as you will want to do because they are wargame miniatures, it does, rubs it all off. And you don't want that. Using this raggedy old brush just to kind of mix that stuff up in the hopper there, and just a quick test. Lovely. Okay, cool. Here we go. So we're going to start with this one. I'm going to hold on to his tail, give him a spray down, come back to him, and then do his tail basically. Lovely. It can be quite difficult trying to find where you've sprayed because it's matte. If you go on too lightly, it kind of just dusts on and you can't really see where you've been. So I deliberately go just a little bit heavier just to kind of create that sheen. If it was a bigger prized model, then I would just take my time with it. But like I say, I'm not really precious about these miniatures. The hair on that one, that's a shame. Okay. Darkens the soil up like rain does. It's kind of bizarre. Just going to need to put a bit more matte in there. There we go. Go through it quite quickly, especially if you put thinner in there. Back in with my mixing brush. Trying to not loosen off anything that may have dried. There's a big ring of dried paint around the top of the hopper in there, which if I was not trying to rush this a little bit, I probably would have cleaned off before I went into this. But it could be anything that's kind of trapped inside the paint chamber, inside the airbrush, that if it had dried, I could have agitated and it might add to a bit of a block up. Because if anything is going to block my airbrush, it will be varnish. It's terrible stuff. So that's the 4 without plants. Here goes the 4 with plants. So the one without the vines. Sorry, the one with the vines but without the leaves. There. One with the leaves. Next one, just the last two now. And then I've got to do their tails, so they're still not done, remember. Staff's got to go. Right, guys, I'm done with the tracks. Have a great Christmas. See you all next week. Last one of the year. Next week is the last one of the year. Yes, you're absolutely right. Have a great Christmas, Staff. Thanks for coming along. Enjoy your tracks that you have painted. See you soon, man. Take care. Oh, ran out again. Going a bit heavy now. The excitement of finishing. Oh my goodness. Come on, don't give me bubbles. It's just bubbled up inside me airbrush there. I can't see how much I'll put in. Pop, 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 pop. Not as much as I wanted. That's better. No talking, just concentration. This is my concentration song. It's not. Weirdo. Okay, last one, and then it's over to tails. Starting to block up a little bit in the airbrush, so I'm trying to be as gentle as I can, but I'm having to be a little bit heavy-handed. Right, back to the first one, which has dried. Okay, so now it's just the tail. Here we go. Right, he can go there. To the next one. Brilliant. To the next one. A little bit tacky. Cool. To the next one. Lovely. Okay, over to the ones with the plants. The varnish does dry on them quite quickly, which is good. Two more. Last one. Oh, music stopped and everything. What a wonderful moment. This is the one that my cat bit and it's still got all the teeth marks in the paint that I decided to keep as a memento. Here we are, being varnished in, sealed in for all eternity. Thanks, Binker. That's my cat. She can't help herself. There we go. Let's clear out the last of the varnish from the airbrush. Just going to push that through with some neat cleaner, I think, because that stuff is aggressive. Cool. I'll use up the last of my 50-50 water cleaner mix as well. Oh, maybe I don't need all of it. Just to seal up all my paints. And my thinner. Get that sealed up. This stuff would evaporate, it won't dry. So, yeah. Let's get my purge tank in here. Ugh. Chris has joined us. Chris Wolf, very late. Hello. Hello, Chris. How are you doing, mate? Thanks for coming along. I know it's right at the end, but it doesn't matter. You come along. Thanks very much. Really appreciate your attendance. How have you been? Literally just cleaning up my airbrush at the moment, so it's kind of just got to a bit of a, probably a boring bit. Just bear with me, right? That bit right there. It's a very exciting part of the show. I'm just going to do one more water purge there, and then I probably will have to strip the airbrush down after the show and give it a really good clean out, because even though I'm cleaning it out now, if it just sits overnight, there's probably going to be something left in there. There we go. Cool. That'll do. That'll do, donkey. Right. Let's move that out of the way. Drum roll, please. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 5 and 6 and 7 and 8. Completed live on the show. Yeah, I'm so cool. Thank you very much. I've completed some. I feel relieved to get those done. Oh my goodness, they've taken me so long and I've still got 8 more to do, but they are done and they look really good for what they are. I do think that I will probably give the little vines a little bit of a dry brush with the same red, maybe even a brighter red. As you can see on here on this Hormigaunt model, it's a little bit brighter, and I prefer that when you compare it to what it is on here. But other than that, they're done. Really, for all intents and purposes, they are finished. I'm so happy with them. They just need to sit there and dry out a little bit because they're a little bit tacky to the touch. Yeah, I did it. I did something. I completed something. As a part of my 41st revolution around the sun, I am getting closer to completing my 41st Millennium Armies. Yeah, dead happy with myself. Brilliant. Chris has said, I have been great. Was out for dinner because your boy has his birthday today. Because my boy has his birthday today? Because your boy has it? Is it my birthday? Happy birthday to me. Thanks very much. Yeah, I'm a year older already. Oh, no. Yeah, well, great success. Has anybody who is watching today had a success today? Stafford said he had a success. He's finished painting his tank tracks. That is an earache to do. It really is. It's quite monotonous painting all those tank tracks, etc. So yeah, glad you got those done. Jeff, Dad, how have you been getting on? Because you've been having loads of orders and stuff lately. Have you got anything done this evening? I have finished my Termagants. Don't they look amazing? To show you how big the new creatures are in comparison, here is my Termagants. These guys are chunky boys. So from the top they look quite similar. If I was to turn one of these Termagants on its side so that you can see him, here is one of these guys. So they are quite a bit larger, 10 to 12 feet tall easily. Yeah. Cool, right? Not that any of the models are really into scale with each other. Yeah, I like them. I think they're really cool. They're gonna look really good. Got some nice big bold carapace up here, which I can do some really good effects on them. I just hope that those seams disappear a little bit. So it might be that I spend a bit of time. I can actually see there's actually quite a crack in there still. It might be that as I prime these up and get them really nice and white, that I spend a bit more time filling that up and yeah, making sure that you can't see it, because it will look much nicer. It'll look much nicer. Yeah. And I got the other one as well. Absolutely fantastic. Really happy. Went on a bit thick in some places with the primer, but it's actually on flat surfaces, so that won't matter. It's not hiding any details on there, and the yellow will go on there really nicely. You can still see there's a little bit of grey still showing through on these. You can see it quite easily there. So they definitely will need a second primer, and there's little spots that I've missed, etc. So I'll cover all of those with a second pass. But they feel dry. Could probably give those a go this evening. I will come away from here now because I think we're pretty much done, aren't we? Let's get away from this mad workbench. Jeff says, shut down for a couple of days, start again next week. Yeah, why not? Have the festive season to yourself. It's too easy to get carried away working and not enjoying time with your family or whatever. Me being your family, spend more time with me. That'd be great. Thanks. You spend plenty of time with me. Right. Cool. Yeah, got loads of stuff done today. What a great way to go into Christmas. What a great way to finish the 100th show. 100 episodes. I still can't quite get over that, really. Just took an order for 40-foot snake fence. Yeah, you definitely need to have a break before you go in and do that. Can I actually unlock my phone? Is my phone going to unlock? There it is. Cool. Brilliant. So, yeah. If you are struggling to get through any of your armies or any of your painting, top tip, just get on painting. Just get on with it. It doesn't matter if it's if you feel like you're rushing and you're kind of ruining it, then slow down a little bit. But generally, if you're worried about not being good enough, which is what I'm always worried about, just keep painting, because as long as you're painting, you are practicing. You're getting better over time. But if you feel like sometimes I'm rushing ahead, like I've actually put 8 Termagants away because I was just spending too much time focusing on them, trying to get them done within the show, and it would have taken me twice as long, clearly, because I'm only halfway through. So if you are going really fast, slow down a little bit, take your time with it, enjoy the company on a show if you already come along. If you know someone who's struggling, invite them to come along. You know, share and subscribe, right? Get them to come along with you, and yeah. And joining the show. Pace yourself a little bit, but just get painting. That's been my thing. That's my kind of learning point, really, is just by getting paint on the models. That's practice, right? It's practice, and I will get better. I haven't really been concerned about these guys, which in some ways is a bit of a shame, because that whole kind of painting thing, maybe, you know, I'm going to go back on myself a little bit, which is why I'm really looking forward to doing these big chunky boys. So I've still got 8 Termagants to rush. These guys over here, I'm going to be a bit more prideful with them and make a bit more of a statement with them. So really looking forward to getting stuck in. Wet Palette Miniatures says, how long will that take you, Jeff? How long will it take you? Just a week. A very long week. I've actually been to the workshop where Jeff works to see his setup and his process for getting those snake fences done. Very simple, but 40 foot is a lot of fence. So best of luck with that. Paint them on next week's show. That's pretty much it for me, apart from the fact, just before I sign off, every week I'm just going to be harping on about it just at the end, just to remind you guys about Salute 2023. Salute is one of the country's, or the UK's, largest war games shows, conventions, whatever you want to call it. I've never been there, and I'm looking forward to going next year. It'll be on April the 22nd. Tickets are £12. It used to be over a weekend. It's just over a day, and I have booked my tickets, as are quite a few people in the community already, the Easy 8 community, and we are planning to go up together. We're going to go up the day before, so we're going to go get a travel lodge or somewhere like that, just, you know, like for those people that outside the UK don't know what travel lodge is, a motel, if you like. It's better than a rundown motel. It's a chain, it's very good. And we're going to go basically have a drink, have a catch up, meet some new people, and then the following day we're going to go over and have a good day at the event itself. What I will say at the moment is that in the UK they are still doing national rail strikes, so getting trains, buying train tickets is very difficult. What I would say is But if you are planning on going by rail, like me and the rest of the community are planning, is we are buying our tickets early so that we can keep the costs down. As of yesterday or the day before, rail prices in the UK have inflated by over 5%, which I've been told is a lot. So yes, and the closer it gets to that date, the higher those prices will go. So we've bought our tickets now. There is every opportunity that rail strikes will occur at that time, so that we might end up having to kind of do something new with our we might have to change our train tickets, or kind of last minute changes, but we can't plan for that. So if you are interested in going, it'll be really great to see you, to kind of get together. If you want to come along as part of the Easy 8 community, that's more what I was trying to get at. Just if you are planning on going by train, book your tickets now to avoid disappointment if you want to. It's just a crazy world at the moment. Everyone's unionising and everyone's doing strikes, and while I support people doing what they need to do, it leaves you some difficult choices sometimes, doesn't it? So yeah, there we go. I'm going to be on Discord at the Easy After Party for just a few minutes at the end of the show, because it is the few days before Christmas. But if people do want to come on and say hello, I always like to make myself kind of present and so that I can say hello. But until next week, stay safe, be kind, keep on painting, and a very, very Merry Christmas to everyone. Thank you so much for being a part of my 100th show anniversary and the journey so far all the way along. So take care, and I'll see you next week. Merry Christmas. Bye bye. I've normally got something funny to say here, but just Merry Christmas, and please subscribe. See you soon.